I have one ear working. That's probably better than one brain working. And I will say that this is the old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
The Old Tube Radio Network, where you will hear the finest in those vintage CB 11-meter type Class D radios tonight when we start checking in the radios after the roll call. Everything was working fine until moments before the program here, and then the headsets died. That's the one thing I don't really have a backup for. But I've managed to get one of the earpieces working, so if you see me hitting my head or do something strange like that tonight, it's probably just trying to hear you all. My name is Dennis, the net controller for the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will endeavor, as we have been doing for the last 35 years, to see how many of those vintage radios that we can check in tonight. But first, we want to hear from our SWLs. Let me switch the camera for those on the video stream. We'll talk about the pocket protector that has adorned my seersucker suit. The SWLs really do listen. And Michael, if you're in, thanks. When we start the tube radios, I'll take a moment to introduce the pocket protector and possibly a new segment for the next couple of months of the Old Tube Radio Network. So first of all, let me say hello to the SWLs and see if 00 is out there. All right, I'm used to having audio in both ears, so hopefully I'm not going to miss anybody due to the headphone situation here. Let's try SWL number 1. Oh, if I put up the right items here, we'll be able to see who is checking in. Yes, SWL number 1 always seems to check in, whether the equipment is working or not. SWL number 2. And Mr. OBP, who, if he were to actually be in front of this radio, or he's probably in front of the radio, but if it's actually transmitting, he would be 9 pounds and a good modulation, but he is waving a hand and listening from the video stream tonight. And you're saying the internet went down in What's North Oregon? Oregon and Washington. Well, I haven't looked at who is listening, but we do have actually quite a few stations from Oregon and Washington, so hopefully whatever is going to happen will happen. Okay, and there's 00. Now that I'm looking at the right page. Present, but mobile only. You know, I heard your mobile, Ray, I heard your mobile last night when you checked into the Friday night sideband net. I actually heard you, but it was quite low. So no doubt with my headphonium problems and everything else, I probably wouldn't hear you on AM, but I'm getting you officially checked in. There we go. So thanks for listening in there. Next is SWL3. I'll proxy and Rob. I need to leave him an email. I have many things to discuss with number 3. How about SWL4? Oh, you know, if I put my head just in the right position, the wire, whatever the broken wire I have, comes back and seems to work. I guess I'll be spending some money on a decent pair of headsets. I should have another set around here somewhere. SWL5. SWL6. At least I have my pocket protector. That there's nothing that can go wrong with that. SWL7.
SWL7 checking in.
Checking in and sounding pretty darn good. Thanks for listening in tonight.
And thank you.
Then we jump over to SWL13. And if I look over, I think it's on this page over here. Oh, there's all sorts of people. Let me refresh the comments. Hello to, let's start up in the balcony tonight. Who is out there? British Columbia. The trio is out there. There's Dallas, Georgia. Oregon is working. Canby will be coming up to you. Thanks for listening. Hello to Kerman. There's Squamish listening in. Barry, Centerville, Virginia. Colorado's in. Also, Redwood, Virginia. Somerville, South Carolina. We've got Reedley. We've got Phoenix. I think Phoenix is responsible. I think the station in Phoenix is responsible for the pocket protector tonight. Hello to New Jersey. That could be Crazy Bob listening in. And then, of course, right here in the footlights, in the front row, out there near Derby, New York, listening in and waiting, waiting for those tube radios. And Ray says he's having a tough time hearing me from where he's parked. He would have a tough time hearing me probably even with a good antenna, thanks to my pipsqueak station here. Let's try SWL 14. SWL 15. Oh, that is a big static crash. I don't think we did have some clouds. I don't think we're having lightning going on here tonight. SWL 16. SWL 17. SWL 18. SWL 19. Shortwave listener 20.
Hey, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you really well. I think I heard you earlier. You were testing. You were doing some testing on frequency, but I don't think you had the receiver turned up. But I hear you great. Over.
Okay. Whoops. Feedback. No, from another radio. There's a gentleman that gave me 2 radios to repair. Not Paul and not Tom. Someone else. And I can't find his phone number. And I'm not sure if it's one of the Jerrys or not, but it might be. And if that person's listening now, because he is an OTR person, please give me a phone call so I can let you know they're ready.
Okay, with the not-so-mystery radio to the ever-so-mystery operator. All right, well, we'll keep asking throughout the net here. Maybe we will find the rightful owner. Your audio sounds interesting, so we'll discuss it more when we start glowing in the dark. Thanks for checking in. Over.
Roger, thank you. Comment. We'll be back after a while.
All right, and we have a comment. Go ahead. Over.
I was just wondering the model on the radios. What 2 radios were they?
2 sonars.
Okay, all right.
Harvey, I'll give you a call in a minute. That's 25. Standing by.
Oh, all right. Okay. See, somebody's got a brain, and it's not me.
There you go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And as the song says, with the thoughts I've been thinking, I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Continuing with the roll call. Always glad when we get some business done during the roll call here on the old Tube Radio Network with a good outcome. SWL 21, Mr. JT from the Wasama Swamps in South Carolina, where, as he often does, poking a hole into the ozone layer. Let me see if I have a replay of the old radio night. What happens out there in the swamps? Let me cue up Studio B here.
Brown 21, I'm gone.
And there he is. And there's. Was that the old man in the wheelchair? Anyway, that's...
Leroy Brown, if you get a chance, get on YouTube and check your video gate. It's live on YouTube, Dirty Doppler 21. All right, there, go. Hey, Iceman, you come on.
Not bad. Working the room as always. And we've got you checked in 21. The DAC was sounding and looking good tonight.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, it's a replay from all the things they were doing earlier. out of South Carolina. I wanted to say hello to, who else was waving a hand here? To Ottawa, Canada's listening in. Looks like Kieran is on the video side. Also, Gary, wondering if there's any shops in NorCal that can work on tube CB radios. That is a question. We used to have a great shop here in Fresno, in Central California, that probably would have been worth the drive. But he is now running mobile out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Hello to Smarty Jones, Ron, XYI, out there in Nine Land, is listening in tonight. KW4SR, Sierra Radio is Keith in Rocky Mountain, Virginia. Hello to Keith. And Eric. Oh, he doesn't remember his number. Because you know what? Because you are 17. SWL 17, Eric, I will check you in. I'm glad I actually look at the right screens here. There we go. Look at the page, and you will see that SWL 17 has got the check-in. Smarty Jones, of course, in New York, making. I heard him over on Old Radio Night, and you're looking good here on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be talking about the classic tube radios after the roll call tonight. Next is SWL 22. And that's Mark out in East Texas. Let's go over to the 23 Skidoo, Mitch, who could be listening in. Sometimes he shows up. He's got many stealthy locations where he hangs out in the various unknown Radio Shacks, but I don't see the one that I think that he might be at tonight. So we'll put a possible X in the square for Mitch, SWL 24. Shortwave listener 25.
Hello, Dennis. One pipsqueak radio signal to another pipsqueak radio. 25 checking in.
I'm looking over at the radio on the rack here. I see I do have it says PS on, PS off. I have the PS on tonight, so the pipsqueak filter is on, and I should be able to hear all pipsqueak radios, I hope, tonight in fine style. Getting you checked in, and you are sounding good. Likewise, heard you on Wednesday night and on Friday night, so Saturday night makes the three in a row.
All right, Dennis, thanks for checking me in.
And it was a classic day today. We had 105-degree weather in the middle of the week, and today it just barely reached 80 degrees and was quite wonderful. It was like this all the time. I think people would want to live here in the Central Valley in Fresno. Looking for SW, over to page 2, looking for SWL 27. And I do have the crossband on. I see it on over there. Hopefully I have the audio turned up. SWL 28. Got a proxy check-in for SWL 29. SWL 30. Shortwave listener 31. Looking for Robert and Teresa in Hendersonville. You know, last week they managed to jump in on the video side. But I don't see them on just yet, so I'll take a rain check there. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself and Bozo Control, the Jingle Singers, who will be back shortly to tell us all about what will be happening tonight. Over to SWL 34. SWL 35, Mr. Bill, who for the station is wanting to know about radio repair. If you see the Red Monkey trailer, the van mobiling around somewhere, that's where you want to go. Mr. Bill is in charge of that. And you can probably even pick up some items of interest for your radio. Mr. Bill is out of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I'm seeing if he is. Let me see if he's out there tonight. Not yet. Okay. Let's go to SWL 36. SWL 37.
RBL 37, and good evening time, Dennis.
And as we say in the biz, hello radio. I hope all is well there and that there's a decent movie in the queue tonight.
I hope so. We'll find out. We've got videos, so I don't know. Just depends which one we pull out.
Okay, well, maybe it'll be Smokey and the Bandit. It'll remind you that to run back and check in. Speaking of checking in, thanks.
You bet. I'm back out and listening.
SWL 38. Shortwave listener 39. SWL 40. SWL 41. That's Road Dog 507, who often stops by the video side. And there he is, right on time. I don't know how he does that with all the delays and things. 41, you are checked in. From the beautiful Hudson Valley, Worldwide Sidebander 507, SWL 41 for those playing the home game. And speaking of playing the home game, let me get 41 checked in and then just go up to the next column, SWL 31, as Teresa is at the Microphonium Mouse, saying hello from Hendersonville, Tennessee. I got you all checked in there. Robert, Teresa, thanks for listening in. Let's go to SWL 42.
That's Proxy 42 in the gang, and I'm going to see if I can get him to fire up his station next week.
Okay, that would be treat when I've not heard his voice for a while. I'm just checking to see if all the lights made it on. Oh, I see there's a few that are off. I'll take care of that when we start doing video. Okay, 42, Mr. KW is checked in. Let's go over to, I think I should be able to hear this station, SWL 43.
43 on the key. Hello, Dennis.
Hey, on the key and sounding good here into Midtown Fresno this evening, where the sun, for those watching the video, and out where the sun is not up, it's still, we're getting into the gray line here, so who knows? We might be hearing the mini grass. Thank you, Crazy Eddie.
You have a fine evening out there, Dennis. Hope you've been able to get out of your house.
I have. I was doing a lot of stuff outside in the yard today, and the places where I work all require me to actually be there and do even more stuff, even more stuff than I normally do. So no problem there. Thanks. The station that checked in as 00, who is on the mobile radio, will check in 44 again. I'm not sure if you're listening via the internet. There might be a bit of a delay, but we are checking you in, Ray. And like I said, I did hear your mobile Friday night when you checked in on sideband, but the AM was a little bit more difficult tonight. And that was definitely just a barely copy on Friday, but I did hear you through the ether. Let's go up to North Fork for SWL 45.
Interesting night tonight, 45.
Yeah, it can only get more interesting, and it can only get better. Thanks, Paul. Sounding good. We'll look forward to your radio selections tonight.
Thank you.
SWL 46.
For dinner, you know, the bull wagon up here at Chowchilla. I was a little worried there. You weren't moving the needle at the start of the program, but we must have got some conditions. Got 3 cars on you. Anyway, have a good evening.
Yeah, we might be having some ducting going on. You have a flutter to your signal, so you are definitely bouncing in and out and around Madera and Madera Ranchos and down through North Fresno here into Central Fresno. I heard you very well Friday night on the sideband net, and you are making it in. So hopefully we have just timed this right. 77144. We've got you checked in. Over. All right, Russia sounding good from Chowchilla tonight. Let's go over to a station that's a little bit closer by, SWL 47.
Good evening, sir. From the Lounge, SWO 47.
Sounding good from the radio lounge tonight, where it is not, 101 degrees at 8:22, but more like 71 degrees. You are sounding good. Got you checked in.
Oh, thank you. And you're absolutely right. It's a beautiful evening outside tonight.
All right, we intend to keep it that way. Maybe add a few radios in the mix. Thanks. Yeah, Rush has got one heck of a transmitter, so I'm assuming that the whole Central Valley hears Chowchilla when he keys down the transmitter. Let's try SWL 48. SWL 49. Bet Brian will be in a little bit later. SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in at, 3 hours, 24 minutes, Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah, GMT, UTC. I'm looking over the other audio board where I have the 3-inch high LED Micronta Radio Shack display, and it just flipped over to 324 UTC. So Dave out there near Sanger sounding good. Also sounding very good on the sideband nets. Thanks. Over to SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. SW53. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you fine, Bob, Mr. Belair. I think I heard you on the Friday night net as well on the sideband, and you're sounding good here on AM tonight.
Thank you, sir.
And we're ready to turn the page. We have the tube radios coming up after the roll call here in about 15 minutes. Maniac 207 saying hello from Seattle and wondering if there's an old tube amplifier net. That's the net I need to be on. Then I think everyone would be able to hear me. Amplifiers that glow in the dark. There are some of those out there. I know it seems like everybody is running the RM Italy transistorized, which is okay, but there are some decent... There are probably a few 11-meter stations that are running the Henry 5Ks and better. You never know. Let me find page 3. Here we go. Oh, I also want to see what's going on over in the green room tonight. They've been pretty quiet, but I see they are prepping for the tube radios tonight. Oh, I see. They said they needed more room. Bob and Steve to the rescue. So they decided to build them a basement under the green room. Is that what all the noise was? I thought it was the squirrels picking all the fruit off the trees outside, but I guess that was something going on over the green room. So there's a basement, huh? So they're going to name it the Green Room Lounge. I wonder if you're going to have a special badge to get in. It'll be like Disneyland has that Club 33. Dance floor, big stage. Oh, this is going to be great. No one is ever, when I put people in the green room, no one is ever going to want to come back into the air chair because they'll be having such a good time in the Green Room Lounge. Bob knows a man in oil who knows the singers. He said, whatever it takes, get it done. More next week. I hope it is the right kind of oil and not Crisco or Wesson. Or it could be a short-lived lounge. SWL 54 checking in Mr. Board Jammer, who is listening in and keeping his fingers crossed that everything works without smoke tonight. Let's try SWL 55.
55 checking in.
Always beaconing down into Midtown with the great signal M&M. We've got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Then we had across town, almost due west from me here, to SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
Just for kicks. Sounding good. And Phil, how many... Phil is always, because of his call, usually the first one of the first ones called on the amateur radio nets, and then when he's 00 here, he's the first one called. How many nets do you check into each week, Phil? Would you estimate?
just the two.
Okay, because I know I hear you on Wednesdays, I think. I don't know if you've got any sideband stuff up for Fridays, and I didn't know if you did any other nets, but sounded good on this one. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis.
Now, let's go over to SWL 57, Brown Dog Audio from Central Kentucky. I am looking to see if... I thought I saw KY. No, not yet, maybe. Keep an eye out on the video side for BDA. Let's try SWL 58.
58 checking in from beautiful Biola. Hope everybody had a COVID-free week and have a great weekend. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thank you. Sounding good on AM as well as sideband. And just a reminder that if you have the USB, LSB position on your CB radio, and it is either modified from the old 23 channels where we used to hang out on lower 16 to make it up to channel 36, or maybe it's a 40 channel and 36 is already on the rotating control. Join Jeremy and the Ditchbanks sideband net on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on 27365. And maybe even treat yourself to a YouTube video of your display, of your signal displaying. Anyway, thanks, Jeremy, for keeping us safe and sane on Friday evenings now.
Station. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate the net you're doing here. Hope everybody can join us.
All right, very good. And the station, go ahead.
Brown Dog Audio, number 57. He's in the chat there. He's checked in.
Okay, you know what? Let me, all right. My screen had scrolled. I have about 12 windows open on my less than stellar Dell computer monitor, so I've got everything kind of squished and compact in the right area. So one false move, and I miss the good stuff. 57 checking in from a 14-hour DX double shift, 115 contacts today. Do you keep a log? Where's my logbook? It's up here. I don't... Here it is. Do you keep a... Here's my old logbook from 1984, 85. It's one of those Mead notebooks, you buy for school, and it is falling apart after 30 years. But there is the pages and pages of contacts. So a good thing. Keep a log. They don't even require it anymore on amateur radio, but it's fun to remember who you talk to and to look back and then realize, and when you say, why in the heck am I so tired? And you look back, oh yeah, 14 hours, 115 contacts. We've got you checked in. If I get to the right page here, we got you checked in there, 57. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Ed, for cueing me into that.
No problem.
SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thanks, Dennis. Evening time to all the radio operators. SWL 60 checking in Big Jake's base, or better known as the 2901 base, the DX 2527.
2527, sounding good in my monaural headphones tonight. I bet it would sound even better if I had the left and the right channels going on. But we will get you checked in. And Mr. 2901 is smiling again.
Thank you, Dennis.
We're in the direct-to-net roll call. The tube radios will be coming up, the classic radios from late 1958 when the FCC said, yes, there will be a Class D citizen service, and then about 1978 when the manufacturer said, I don't know. What are we going to do with all these tubes? We probably won't put them into radios. Hello to Wayne from Glen Allen, Virginia. Says he enjoys the program and had his first radio in the mid-1960s. Well, I bet it might have been full of tubes. Maybe it will be one that we check in tonight. We will see what we come up with. Let's go over to, God always sounds good, and he's not that close. SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
All right, are you mobile tonight?
No, I'm in the garage instead of the house.
Okay, yeah, different radio. Different signal, but putting in a good item here into the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, Jeremy, you broke my needle, man. You bounced it off the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one of those fancy displays like he's got, so we can see who's breaking whose needle.
Thanks, Dennis. You got a breaker out there. You were talking when he was trying to break in.
All right, let me stop talking. Thanks, and see who's breaking station for OTR.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. This is Tony, 145 in Course Code. I just had a question for Jeremy. I was wondering if he posted Friday's show on YouTube yet, because I was looking for it today and I couldn't seem to find it. I was just wondering if he was having trouble posting it or it's not posted. I just had a question. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt the show.
Okay, not a problem. I know there was still the 3-minute version, which was sort of the first part, and then then he reset things. So maybe he is out working on that. We are looking for SWL 62.
Evening time, OTR. Hi, Dennis. This is 62 checking in from downtown Clovis.
From downtown Clovis, Rex at the microphonium, as he has been doing for, well, we've been here 35 years. He's been probably doing it at least on OTR for that long, and on CB radio for a lot longer than that. Thank you, Lucky Lindy. Also want to say hello to SWL 35, checking in late. Mr. Bill at Red Monkey Communications, jumping into the virtual digital Radio Shack and saying hello to all of us here in the Central Valley. Thank you, Bill. Over to SWL 63. And I will get Bubba and all the New York crew checked in on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 64. SWL 65.
Can I proxy him, please, Dennis?
I will do that. We'll put the proxy in the square for Mr. Eric. Thank you.
Thank you.
SWL 66. SWL 67, and that is Bill, who was in earlier. There he is, way up, way up. He's jumping up in the top row there, trying to shine a little flashlight down to attract my attention. Up in Canby, Oregon. Well, there was a report saying that there was internet malfeasance in parts of Oregon and Washington, so hopefully that has not affected you tonight, Bill, but obviously not right now, because you are here, and I'm checking you in. Let's try SWL 68. SWL 69. That would be Kenny, who is maybe listening. I didn't see Tulsa on there, but Kenny, if you're watching the replay, hello, and I've got you checked in. You can see up at the top of the screen where it says SWL 69 checked in. Thanks for listening in, and we miss you. SWL 70. SWL 71. And I bet Stan is there. Let me refresh my comments and go over to this screen and look for Mr. Announcer. And there he is at the what appears to be the RCA 44 ribbon microphonium. Got you checked in, Stan. What kind of contests were going on this week? I think there was some type of a CW contest going on out there. Let's see if Eric is around. The other Eric, SWL 72. SWL 73. I'm getting 73 checked in from earlier check-in on the 2-meter side. SWL 74.
Miss Jilly, Mr. D, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I have the Old Tube Radio Net Control official shirt on with the tie, the seersucker suit, and we'll be discussing this in moments, the now official OTR pocket protector. So I am doing fine, and I hope you are the same.
I have my shorts on, and I have a cocktail, and it's Saturday night, and I'm talking to you, so I am fabulous.
Okay, that is probably, I hope everyone is listening. That is probably one of the best ways to enjoy and to listen to the Old Tube Radio Network is with a cocktail of your choice, whether it's, I don't know, Martini, Tom Collins, Ovaltine, water, lemonade, you name it, you drink it, and we'll put on a good show for you tonight. Thanks for checking in.
We love you very much. I haven't talked to you in a while.
And likewise, Bozo Control, where are you? Okay, Bozo Control, giving you the honking proboscis. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 75. Out to the Tower of Power, SWL 77.
Well, hello, Dennis, and good evening to all the listeners, both digital and over the airwaves. 77 on the Tower of Power in the Tower District. Waving a hand, checking in, and want to compliment all the distant stations out there that are really sounding good in here. Chowchilla was making a really good trip into the Tower District.
Yeah, in fact, he was smoking me up in Squaw Valley as well. He's got a good, I'm sure he's got a good location, a good antenna, and a definitely nice station to beacon in here. He also has a good receiver. I don't even know how in the heck he's hearing me from Chowchilla, but I agree. Got you checked in.
Thank you.
And Wayne, talking about his 1960s radios from Allen, Virginia, says he still has a General MC5. Listen in, Wayne, that is one of our sets that we often hear on a Saturday evening. So if we get an MC5 tonight, we'll see if we can't turn on the Q-Bird, the tone signal, in your honor for listening in tonight. We'll see what happens. A lot of General radio telephones here on the West Coast because they were made in beautiful downtown Burbank. All right, 1017 is checked in. Let's try SWL 78. And Richard is in Everett, Washington. There was a Washington station in earlier, but I don't think it was Richard. Let's try SWL 79. I could have sworn I heard Philip in earlier. SWL 80. Over to page 4. Let's look for SWL 81. From the Ditch Banks, SWL 82.
From the Ditch Banks of Biola, 82, check it in. Good evening.
Good evening. And sounding good on a tube radio, no doubt. Thank you, Ron.
All right, thanks, Dennis.
On a Saturday evening, that's what it's about here in the Central Valley. Those glow-in-the-dark radios. Coming up, stay tuned. SWL 84. And let's see, I got a note to get the whole gang proxied in, which I will do. Jerry and the ladies, SWL 85. I'm taxing my broken headphones here to see if I can hear Reedley tonight. I guess we're having problems with the long distance, getting out to the long distance stations tonight, so we'll see what happens. Then we have the 3 in a row, 86, 87, and 88. That is the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively. Got you all checked in. SWL 89. SWL 90. We've got a proxy check-in for 90. SWL 92. SWL 93. Sometimes Louis gets in early. I'll be listening for him. Here's a station I heard checking in on the sideband net last night, SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
And good evening, Dave. A little bit more like Monterey weather today, not like the last couple of days. I got you checked in.
Yeah, raining over there right now. Los Banos and all up in that area in Rocky. Anyway, checking in. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I could have sworn I heard a lightning crash in my receiver here about a half an hour ago. So let's see. Keep the clouds in the right spot. But that actually for the Central Valley, that is not unusual in near the end of May. I remember probably, was it 6 or 7 years ago, when they were having the final game of the Grizzlies here in downtown Fresno, and that was in June, first week of June, and they canceled it due to rain. The rain was so bad they ended up canceling it, so we could still get some fun stuff. Thanks for checking in.
All right, thank you.
SWL 103. And from the big town of Auberry, SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. This is Crawdad checking in.
Crawdad is checking in. You are, to use a big word, ubiquitous. Yes, the voice here on AM on Saturday nights, and now the voice on Friday nights on sideband. You are sounding good, Mr. Crawdad. Thanks for joining us here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 110. SWL 111. And I got a note from 111 saying that he was not hearing things too well on from Reedley tonight. I thought I heard him on the stream before I started here, but I'm putting an X in the square from Reedley Town because he does have a great station and he's got the antenna up in the air. So I'm going to say anything that isn't making it through my receiver is due to a malfeasance on my part tonight. Let's head over to SWL 113.
Hey, I'm on a striker tonight. Do you copy?
I copy you over.
Okay, yeah, I remember that rain out. Also, there was a lightning out at one of the Grizzly games. Big old boom, exploded. The outfielder ran to the dugout, and they called the game. Anyway, we're out motorcycle riding today. Went to North Fork, beautiful weather, and we just got back home. So thanks for the net.
Hey, thanks for checking in. Sounds like you are enjoying the great weather that we are having at the moment anyway, and you've got a good signal in here tonight. So watch yourself on the YouTube. Listen to yourself on the YouTube replay. Thanks, Tom.
All right, will do. I'll try to fire up the Robin here in a little bit, see if I can get it going too. All right, thank you.
All right, yeah, the Solid State Radio sounds good as well. We take everything here at the Old Tube Radio Network, but we specifically like those tube radios, and we will be talking with them in moments. SWL 114.
114 checking in.
And there is Rick Shaw. Hello, Wayne. We've got you checked in. You are halfway there. 4 out of 4 in this 8-week roster. Thanks.
Thank you for the check-in.
Then we jump up to SWL 128. I will check my items here. Yes, greetings from 128 in Virginia. I need more stuff in that pocket. You know, there's plenty of stuff that can go in this pocket, but I'm trying to go easy, and I will explain why in just moments when we start up the Tube Radio Network tonight. SWL Michael from Phoenix was crafty enough to figure out how to find the perfect pocket protector for the old Tube Radio nerdy net control, and away we go for future episodes here. Thanks 128. Let's go over to SWL 131. Well, I heard a carrier. I think that was John in there, but I did not hear any audio. Is that you, Mr. Rude? Over, over. Okay, I'll put a question mark in the square. Let's try SWL 133. Shortwave listener 135. We have a proxy check-in for SWL. Boy, you know, these headphones are driving me nuts tonight. SWL 137 with a proxy. And Tony, if you're still there, I'll call you officially, but I will get you checked in since you were in there earlier. SWL 145.
Okay, thank you for the 2 for Tony 145 in Course Gold. Really enjoying this cool down. It's 60 degrees on the deck, about 7:30 with a nice little cool breeze. Really nice change for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If the weather was like this all the time, people would want to live here. You are sounding good tonight. I heard you sneak in on the sideband. No, it was Wednesday night net, and then you kind of faded away. But you were there, and you are here tonight. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Everybody be safe out there. 73.
Then let's head up to Kakalaki. Neil and the gang in Fayetteville, he said he was listening in the last 2 weeks, but not able to log in on the laptop for some reason. He's there tonight. I know I did see you last couple of weeks on the video side. Lively day of skip all over 10 and 11 meters. I even went up on the 10 meter today when I would occasionally walk into the radio room and I could not hear even a speck of 10 meter beacons coming through. But I was, from after hearing JT's skip, that you guys have out that way where you're at. I'm just wondering why we don't hear it. Probably one reason is I don't hear it because my antenna's so lousy. But anyway, saying hope we are all good on the west side, and we are, and 73 from Dr. Jazz in the Carolina Sandhills. Let's go, let's see, we are heading all the way up to Course Gold once again for SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis.
195 checking in. I will get the X in the square and also the official X on the SWL check-ins. Thanks. And let's see, over to SWL 226. And if you're watching the video at some point, Jeff, I will look for your possible check-in somewhere. You did get you checked in a couple of weeks ago. Any other stations that want to get checked in on the roll call here or say hello before we switch over to the tube radios?
49er.
Hey, 49er, we got you. Let me go over to page 2. And put an X in the square, and good to hear you on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Over.
Hey, thank you very much. Good to be heard. Yeah, I was outside with the wife planting some tomatoes and lost track of time there. Got Sweet Country Mama here beside me waving a hand as well. So thank you very much for the check-in, and we'll try to get some tubes checked up here warmed up here for a little bit later. Thank you.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I have missed the Wednesday night nets a couple of times just for that reason here recently, because I'm out doing something and I realize the sun has gone down or going down, and then it's, at 8:51, the Wednesday night net is already gone. But the Old Tube Radio Network kind of saves the day because we go a little bit longer than that. So good luck on the crop. And hello to Sweet Country Mama. They're listening in as well. Any other stations? They break OTR. Go ahead. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. Up there on the hill around Course Gold, waving a great big hand. Glad to be back in California after 2 months of being in New Mexico.
All right. Well, we haven't had any good skip, or else we would probably be hearing you, or would have been hearing you from New Mexico in fine style. But glad you are back here on the ground wave. Over.
Thank you. Oh, I found one radio shop out there in New Mexico, and I couldn't even get in there because they were closed because of the shrinking COVID. But, hey, Tony, thanks to everybody. Glad to be back, and I'll be back next week.
Okay, we will be here next week as well. Tube radios are next. I want to say, let's see, sporadic is weird. It usually occurs around storm fronts and such. Well, tonight, you never know. Well, we'll see what happens. I have a lot of stations listening in that are definitely in our E-skip area here on the north and the west. And hello to Joe, Roadrunner 433, signing in from Millville, New Jersey, across the river from Mr. Crazy Bob, Crazy Bob DJ, who's probably not doing too much DJ stuff these days, at least on the portable roadside. But I enjoy his Facebook sites, and he comes across here sometimes waving a hand and saying hello. All right, the Old Tube Radio Network will be doing what we do best, and that's checking in radios. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back in a moment on your Old Tube Radio Network.
TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Ah, yes, that RADIO, that wonderful thing that happens all the time, whether you're listening or not. Hopefully you're listening tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network, trying to do what we do best, and that is listen for and talk about and discuss those classic tube radios from 1958 to 1978 that adorned your 11-meter radio citizen band frequency. We will try to recreate that tonight for you with the operators and the radios. My name is Dennis. Let me switch over to, for those watching us, hello, for those watching us on the YouTube video. Also, hello to those listening in live and direct on the RF side at 27085. That would be channel 11. And who else would be listening? OldTubeRadio.net on your Universal Media Netweb device of choice. Before I go into the radios, I wanted to tonight discuss the item of interest that showed up from our listener in Phoenix, Michael. Let me see, what's the better shot here? Let's go to that camera. The pocket protector. I guess a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the seersucker suit and the official shirt, and I mentioned I didn't have a pocket protector, so I took the greenie screwdriver and stuck it into the pocket, which is not what you want to do. You definitely need a pocket protector. So this week in the mail, the pocket protector showed up. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. There you go. The official Old Tube Radio pocket protector, thanks to Michael in Phoenix. It's truly one that's apropos for the Old Tube Radio Network. It's got the tubes right across the front. It says, I give S&W green stamps with Sylvania tubes. And not only that, it came with a bevy of items to put in to the pocket. And what's even better is each one of these pens is from the day, from a radio or a television shop, or it's advertising one of the manufacturers. So what I think I'm going to do, in fact, what I am going to do is each week we are going to start off the tube radio portion, of course, with the pocket protector prominently placed in the pocket. We'll use the greenie screwdriver, and then I will select one of those pens each week to be our sponsor for the evening. And the one I chose this week is, it's from, can you see that? Of course, I'll describe it for our listeners. Mesa Discount, high quality, lowest prices. They deal with Sylvania, Sony, and Panasonic. And of course, you can find them at 456 West Main in Mesa, Arizona, 969-2971. So tonight, thanks to Mesa Discount for sponsoring us here on the Old Tube Radio Network. And thanks to you, Michael from Phoenix, for making my week. I was at the radio station, and Rich says, you got a package here? I guess you talked to Rich on the phone, and he was impressed. He said, "I know that voice." I said, "Yeah, that's Mr. Announcer." All right. So thanks to, I've forgotten already. Thanks to Mesa, the Mesa Discount for sponsoring us, and we are saying the Old Tube Radio Network is looking for radio number 1.
Number 7.
All right, we'll get started. 7. Hello, Mr. Ed. Jump up into the air chair. We'll get you as Radio 1. And was that Paul 45 over?
Yes, 45.
All right, I'll try and get through this. I only have one side of my headphoniums working tonight. So if I'm asking questions more than once, it is not the fault of the transmitting radio. So Paul, head over to the green room. I don't know if there's some type of basement lounge. I don't know if they've installed an elevator or how you would get down there, but just remember to listen in on the monitors, and we will call you for Radio 2. I'm kind of excited to check it out myself, but before that, let's check out some radios. Hello, Mr. Ed, over.
And hello, Dennis, and all the people listening to OTR there. This one is the Tram TR27E, 23-channel transmit and receive, the Big Green Machine.
The Big Green Machine. There are some SWLs that do enjoy the green radios, of which there seem to be many. There it is up on the corner. Let me go to the full screen. I've reconfigured my video screen, so everything's in the wrong spot here. The Tram TR27E. Let's even get a closer shot of the Tram TR27E. So not only is it a big radio when you're sitting in front of it, but it's big when we put it on the screen. This Tram would probably be the radio that you would buy for the top-of-the-line Tram in 1963. This was their big style radio. Of course, it had the S meter and the 23 channels, which is a good thing. Let's hear more from it. Back to you.
Yes, and the speaker there's a 5x7, gives you a little bit of idea of just how big that radio is, and that S meter is just wonderful. It's one of the largest ones. In fact, it is the largest one I've got on any radio, and I don't have to have glasses on to see it, so great for old guys. Also have an Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
And I don't have a shot of that, but the Electro Voice 638 is a microphonium of choice for a lot of the tube radio operators, especially the Collins. If you're listening to a Collins radio net, you will probably find a lot of stations running that particular microphone. If I get a picture of that sometime during the evening, I will put it on the video because it's quite interesting, and it also makes for another classic piece in the radio duo there. Give us another transmission. I'm going to switch over to the Orban loudness meter so we can clock you in and see where the Tram is transmitting tonight on the loudness meter. Back to you.
Well, see how the old Tram does. Man, actually, an eBay acquired radio, which I usually don't do. But talked to the guy, emailed him back, and he was a ham radio operator, and he said it was good. So, and when I got it here, it was definitely good. I like the radio. Glad I could bring it by.
And we are glad you brought it by, because we like all things here that glow in the dark, the Old Tube Radio Network, in our 35th year of doing just what we do, and that's listening for your radio check-ins, trying to recreate the sound of the 1960s and the 1970s, of course, and the demeanor as well, back when people got on the air after, I don't know, after watching Jackie Gleason or Red Skelton or Bonanza, and had a great time on their then, I guess, social media. Thanks for the tram. It is sounding good getting us started off tonight.
Thank you.
All right, SWL 45. And just a reminder, you don't have to have any numbers. This is not a club. You don't have to pay any dues to join. There's not a secret handshake. We do this because we want to hear from you. And if you're a first-time user of our Tube Radio, please, at the appropriate moment, break in, and we'll chat with you and want to talk about your radio. Paul, SWL 45 should be stepping up into the air chair, but before you take a transmission, Paul, let me see, was there a breaking station for OTR?
60.
Get to me already?
All right, I hear 60. Stand by. And who was the other station?
131.
And 131, was that for a check-in, or a radio check-in, or an SWL check-in?
Me too.
Radio check-in.
All right. Let's see how we do this. So Paul is radio number 2. He'll be next. And then we'll take, I'll write this down so I don't forget, SWL 131, Mr. Rude, and then Radio 4 tonight will be Joe, SWL 60. So the green room is up and running. So jump over to the green room and see what they're doing in the lounge, and we will be back to you all shortly. But first, let's talk to Paul up in North Fork. Hello, radio.
Hi, Dennis. Yeah, this is 1963 radio also. It's the General Radio Telephone SB-72.
General Radio Telephone SB-72. I think someone requested that a couple of weeks ago, or wanted to hear one, or if we had one. And of course, our radio collectors here at Old Tube Radio Network are the best. Of course, I would say that. I would say that because it's true. And so we actually have a station that has one. Let's see if I can find a picture of an SB-72, and we'll go back to you. Yeah, we'll go back to you for transmission. Over.
Yeah, okay. That's my radio. Very nice radio. One thing great about these things, they have a Collins Stoller in the thing, and I'll tell you, even though it's a nice night tonight, it makes everything just so super crisp and clear. Interesting radio, like I say, 1963, and this was the first, or could have been the first sideband 11-meter radio made, manufactured. So I'm not saying it is, but it's pretty close to the first one. And they had quite a bit of trouble with the thing, but it's an interesting radio. I'm glad to have it. Back to you, Dennis.
Glad you could bring it by. So, yeah, think 1963. Sideband is happening on the amateur radio side. There's still a lot of AM going on, but the sideband radios are starting to come up. And in the Class D 11-meter citizen band service, there is no such thing as sideband until this radio here in 1963. The issue is, who do you talk to if you want to talk sideband? Well, you probably have to get another general radio telephone. 13 tubes, single sideband transceiver. They had a few extra tubes in the sideband radios because they had to have the product detectors so you could listen in, decipher the sideband. It had 24 channels with upper sideband, lower sideband, so it was single sideband. The next radios that came out probably a couple years later, like the Tram and the Regency, both, they had double sideband. The receiver's dual conversion, and it also has the Collins mechanical filters. And they only use one crystal for transmit and receive, so that's interesting. The 24th channel, it looks like the Civil Air Patrol frequency, which we'll talk about a little bit, but I want to hear another transmission from that radio. It sounds great. I don't know, have you ever tried to to tune it in or see if it works on the sideband? Over.
I'm seriously thinking about it. Maybe tomorrow night, if I can remember. My problem is trying to remember that net comes on. But I think you and I played with it one time here, and it does sideband for sure. It's working. It sold, by the way, it sold for $599.50. It wasn't a cheap radio. It's the same price as the MC11 prototype, which Harvey's the only one I know has got one of those. But no, it's really a nice radio. I tell you, it's got all kinds of goodies on the thing. It's got lights on the thing for modulation. It's got a yellow light for AM. And it's got a sideband, lower sideband, upper sideband light on the thing too, plus the meter on the thing. So they put everything they can find in the thing. It's interesting. Oh, it's got received fine tune, which is excellent. It even helps the Collins filter. Well, that's about it for it. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, just put a closer shot up on that to see the knobs. And yeah, that was an expensive radio. That was probably more than... Well, let's see, the Tram that we heard from Mr. Ed, I'm sure was probably around the $300 to $400 range. The Brownings at that time were in the $300 to $400 range. So this was a venture for General Radio Telephone, whose radios at that time were quite reasonable in the $150 to $200 range. So maybe they thought they'd give a try on the high end here on sideband, or maybe they were thinking that sideband would be adopted, since that's what was happening for the amateur radio people. But when you don't have anyone to talk to on sideband, you've got to have another person that wants to spend almost $600 on the radio. You could do it for Civil Air Patrol. Probably has a way to run a little bit more than the 4 watts DC input if they allowed that, and that's 26620 is that channel. I'm just seeing if it will do 12-volt DC. I can't, I don't see that it does. Oh, okay. It says 12-volt DC requires 7.5 amps, so there must have been a way to do that. 6AQ5, I think that's the tube I have in my Regency Imperial for the DSB double sideband modulation. A lot of 6-volt tubes, 6AL11 for the audio output detector. So kind of standard there, but definitely not a standard radio at all. Take another transmission. I'll put you up in the Orban loudness meter and see where the very rare radio telephone SB72 from 1963 checks in on the audio. Go ahead.
20. Yeah, if somebody wants to go ahead, I'll stand by. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Take a transmission, Paul, and then we'll pick up Harvey. Over.
Oh, okay. Harvey, yeah. Harvey's got one of these too. I think his is a newer model than mine. Anyway, this came out around the MC5s, MC6s at that time. And it's got, like I said, 10 tubes, the 13 tubes in the thing. And I'm talking on a JM-U2 microphone on the thing. I got to crank way down. I hope it's not doing anything loud. Back to you.
No, it sounds good. It's got plenty of audio. You're right up where it should be in the range on the audio meter here. So not a problem there. And, of course, we do leave the video up so you could listen to that, or also at the archives at oldtuberadio.net for the audio. Radio number 2, the General Radio Telephone SB72. Yes, single sideband in 1963. There weren't any like it except that one. And as Paul mentioned, it didn't sell very well. It was expensive. It's a cool radio, and there probably aren't many around. But if you had one, maybe you were... It's channel 16. That's a 23-channel radio, so I wonder if they were using 16 lower. There is a group, I think, called the Alpha Charlies now that are trying to recreate and start up on its channel 16 lower. So when conditions are running, do not discount the fact that if you have a 23-channel only radio that has sideband, to jump down like we used to do in the 60s and 70s and listen on lower 16, because there are a lot of people out there trying to recreate that. Thanks, Paul. You're sounding good. All right, the next radio I have up would be John, Mr. Rude for 131. So step into the air chair, and then Harvey, I want to make sure that you have a radio, not a comment. You will be radio number 5. Over.
Yeah, radio 5.
Okay, very good. Next we have Mr. Rude. Are you still there? Over.
Yes, I'm still here. I think I misunderstood you. I was just trying to get my number checked in because I missed the countdown.
Okay, let me go back and see. Oh, all right. I have the question mark. I gave you the question mark in the square. And I think you were there, but the audio went away. I hear you now, so you are, and I will make it official on the big board here, you are officially checked in. Thanks for being patient and coming back. The radio sounds okay now.
Well, that's good. That's just my same one I've had always, my 29 LTE.
All right, yeah, just the audio had dropped out a bit, I think. Carrier was there, but it's A-okay now. Over.
I also don't have my power my feeder. I went south on this. I'm using a noise canceller, so that's probably why I'm not quite so loud.
Yeah, audio's a little low, but I hear you, and it's moving the wiggle meter a bit, so you're good to go. If you get the amplification back on the microphone, even better.
Okay, thanks, Dennis.
All right, thank you. Let's head over to SWL 60. Joe and the gang out that way and see what Mr. Hustler has. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. I think we're warm enough on this end to key up. We just want to check in our Messenger Johnson 223 on a stock mic, ceramic mic.
Excellent audio. You can't beat the audio on the early EF Johnsons, the Viking, the Messenger 1, the Messenger 2, and then the 223, which is the expanded version of the Messenger 2. I think the good thing about EF Johnson is they knew what was good in the radio. So they left that alone when they kept upgrading things and then just added the bells and whistles, the extra channels, and the other extra S meters and things like that. I'm looking to see if I know we do. We have a shot of the EF Johnson Messenger 223. Does yours have a modulation light on it, or is it the version without it?
It's the version without it. No, there's no modulation light. No doggone it. I don't see nothing like that.
Okay, because I have two pictures. One has the mod light, which is in the center under the S meter, and one does not. So that's the one I will feature here so people can see what it is that you are driving this evening. All 23 channels, the S meter, which may or may not be illuminated. I think that whole front display is, if the light is working, shines quite nicely. Over.
Oh, the lighting's great on this. The meter, channel changer, and no problem with the light issue. Big meter and easy to read the poundage.
Yeah, so you can be 9 pounds, a good modulation wherever you go. You are radio number 3. I was seeing the manufacturer date on that. I know it's not 1963. That would have been the Messenger 1. 1969 to 1972. The price was just under $200. And then it typically came with a desk microphone that said EF Johnson that I think was made by Shure or Turner. And if you had that included, it was a little bit more than about $200. But they sold a lot of those. They also made a version for Sears Roebuck. So if you have one that says SR on the front, you've got a Messenger 223, but it's the very rare Sears version. More information on Sam's Photo Fax CB23, page 53. Come on back with a transmission, and I'll pop up the Orban loudest meter, and we'll see how that thing is doing. Over.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy with the radio. It's a plain radio. It's a nice beginner's radio, easy to read, and doggone it. The only odd thing about it is that the squelch is what turns the radio on, and that's the only odd thing about it. You would think the volume would, but the squelch turns it on. Other than that, it's a nice radio, well-built, solid.
Yeah, the Messenger 1 and 2 were like that. What they did is they put the on-off switch, and I'm sure there must have been a method to the madness in that. They put the on-off switch on the squelch control. So it's basically just a switch for on-off, like you said. You click that on, but just out of habit, you tend to start turning it up to get the volume, which is not the case for that. And like I would do on my Viking Messenger before I knew better, I would turn that control up so much that I would end up squelching out the radio, and only the loudest and closest stations would make it through the receiver and the speaker. You think, well, maybe the radio doesn't work. So yeah, you just got to remember to click that switch. You hear the click, you leave it alone, and then go adjust your volume. Radio number 3, the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. Joe driving that one into the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. It sounds fine, and it's got plenty of audio. Did you say you were running a preamplified mic on that or not?
No, this is a stock mic, a ceramic mic. We have our eyes open for a Johnson desk mic, but not preamp. We're just looking for one, the desk mic model that goes to this. I have already a clue where I can get one, but we're not in no big rush about it. Just a ceramic stock mic.
Yeah, that's a wise decision. You have very loud audio, and it sounds great. If you put in a preamplified microphone, you're going to end up having to turn it way down, or if not, you will have all sorts of background noise. So I think you're trying to find the Johnson desk mic for that would work. Probably even a Shure 444, an unamplified, or an unamplified D104 would probably work as well. Thanks for bringing it by tonight. One of our radios that we have been recommending for a long time, if you're looking to start your collection, look for one of those. Look for the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. That gives you all 23 channels, the S-meter. It's got a great receiver. They were built well. They hold up nicely. Usually the prices aren't too bad. And as you hear, without very much effort, they sound quite nice on a Saturday evening. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, now if I read my scribbly handwriting here, the jingle singers, are they ready? No, they are not ready. So let's go over to our next radio, which I believe is coming from Harvey on the west side. Over.
Roger, can you hear this radio without anything on?
I can, without the Harvey range boost, I can hear your radio. Also, I wanted to say hello to Popcorn 913, who is listening in and watching this program, this net. We call it the Old Tube Radio Network. We are here in Central California. And what we do on Saturdays from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock is jump on our citizen band radios on Channel 11, and specifically our citizen band radios that glow in the dark, the tube radios of the 1960s and 70s, and have a good time driving them around the block. It's like an old car. You've got to take it out of the garage once in a while to make sure it works. Our operators and collectors have great collections, which they share with us, and through the miracle of digital stuff, we're sharing them with you on YouTube and oldtuberadio.net and whoever else wants to listen. And this also gives you a flavor, if not for the sound of the radios, that if you missed what it was like to be around in the 1960s and 70s when these were brand new, also the demeanor of the operators. This is pretty much how it was. Nice, calm, cool, collected conversations. Hello, Harvey. I hear you just fine. Take another transmission and tell us what you got.
Okay. First, a little bit of trivia on that Johnson 223. He says it doesn't have a modulation light. It actually does. The original one, a radio like the one he has, it's below the chassis underneath, and it's just part of the circuit. When you got the radio upside down and you're looking at the right spot, you see the little neon bulb. And during the receive, there's nothing. It doesn't do anything. When you key up, it goes on a little bit. And when you talk, it pulsates kind of with your voice. Well, I don't know, but somebody must have mentioned something to Johnson, and then they took that, and then they put it on the front of the radio on the later model. It's the same thing, because on the ones with the modulation light, that same item is not down below, but it's hooked up in the same spot. They just ran the wires down. So some radios, if you look at them real close and you go, you know, that's not quite the original looking bulb and cover and all that. Well, that's because somebody probably drilled a hole, put one in, and it pretty much looks real close. So anyway, so it actually does have one, and it's down below. This is a Sonar Model G. It's something that I repaired, and hopefully it should be working all right.
It's working great. I was trying to guess because it has very strong, loud audio. I thought it could have been a Buddy bass when you first keyed up, but then I thought, well, I don't know. It's signal-wise was pretty good. Even without the Harvey range boost, the signal is good. Let me bring up a Model G. There's one with Cliff that shows the original microphone with it. So let's go with that first. I popped up the Orban meter, and you're right in line with all the other stations here tonight, and then some. So nothing wrong with the audio. As we can see, it's got an S meter. Looks like it's selectable channels. I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like there's a VFO for receive. Anyway, tell us about it. I think you've got it working nicely, and we'll do a frequency check on it as well to confirm what you probably already know. Over.
Well, hopefully it's 085.1 because my meter says 084.9, and you usually catch me just a hair higher. Next to the meter is the crystal spot switch. You got the mic plug lower left. Then you go to the right, you got volume squelch, the tunable receive, and the crystal, or the tune and the crystal switch. And the microphone is the amplified microphone, the Sonar mic, with the little circuit in the microphone. So it's the same as in my Sonar 3023 that you said sounded like the Baby Buddy. Although that one I think has twin 6DQ5 modulators. This one has a 12BH7A output modulator with, get this, a 12AQ5 final output tube.
Yeah, Sonar didn't mess around with push-pull audio and items. I was trying to see if I get a year on this. I'm thinking this might be another close to 1963 radio. It sold for $230. I don't know how many crystals you got, but I have an ad. I might pop that up. This is such a great picture from Cliff, and it's showing the big Sonar microphone. I think they call looks like a waffle or a piece of toast. So I'm not sure if that's the one you're referring to. I wasn't aware that Sonar had a built-in amplifier on the microphone. Is that something you need a battery with, or was that the radio supply power for that? Your frequency check at 27084, about 084.5, so I think we're agreeing on that. And there is, I don't know if this radio is heading out, if this was a repair or a tweak, but I think you've got everything perfect on it. Over.
Yeah, this is heading out, along with another one that I'll check in after a while. 1963-64 on the Model G. The circuit is one electrolytic capacitor, I think a ceramic cap, 2 resistors, and one of those oversized telephone cartridges for the mic cartridge. And it gets about 90 volts to the relay, somewhere in that neighborhood, I think. And they interrupt the voltage with a resistor going to the circuit for the amplification, and the rest of it goes to the relay to key up the radio. Now, what's interesting about this is it's somewhat of, now I thought it was a unique type circuit that Sonar had. But no, it's not. What it is a circuit that's in some of the Raytel radios, the older Raytels, I think the Allstate radio, maybe some ITOs, where you have these kind of flat-looking microphones. And they have a similar cartridge, but they put the circuit in the radio right off the mic plug. So if you're checking why there's no audio, and you're checking tubes and all this, you check the mic plug. Well, when you go from the mic plug to the tube, all of a sudden you see a resistor here, another one there, and a small electrolytic cap, and that is the same circuit that sonar puts in the microphone.
Very interesting. Yeah, you got to be careful with, what is it, like the B plus voltage on those things at 90 volts, I think. I've had trouble with running mic circuits on the Browning and realizing that you've got some nasty, something that can bite you if you don't do it right. I see the mic plug is I'm going to say like a 1/4-inch phone. You might come back, and if it's the TRS style, I'm assuming it has to have 3 connections, maybe only 2. Maybe it's simpler than that. I've got a different shot of the Model G, and with this one, it's looking up into the radio, and to me, it looks like there's a light underneath there. There's a piece across the top where it says the Sonar Model G panel that's screwed in, and it looks like there's a light underneath that. Am I seeing that correctly?
You are seeing that most correctly. There is a light bulb. Oh yeah, I had to replace that too. Anyway, yeah, there's a light bulb there. And it's in between, obviously, the channel selector and the meter, and it lights up both. And does a good job. I think, is it this radio too? Let me look. Get the flashlight out. Look in. No, this doesn't have it. Oh yeah, it does. Right there. The radio, no, this one doesn't have it. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, the Model E, they have a trim cap in the antenna circuit for the antenna modulation light. There's a light on the Sonar Model E, and it says antenna. When you key it up, it might go on or might not quite go on. Then you talk and it blinks. Well, instead of in the audio circuit, they put that one in the output circuit. If your radio is not putting out too many watts, if you try and get the light bright, it cuts your power way down. A good transmitting radio with good power, you can get that light bright and basically blow it out. So, anyway, that's the difference between those two. They had it in the E and not in the G. Anyway, this is a nice radio. I have one also, and I like mine. Anyway, back to you, and then I might stick in here depending on how many other people, and I'll hook up the other radio.
Okay, great. Sounds good. I agree that all the sonars that we get sound good. The audio is always nice. That's and it's got channel 11. It's probably a radio that would make a good, because it's got a nice receiver as well, a good net control radio. If it has, it would need to have some form of speaker output or a headphone jack or something to feed my internet stream, and then I might have to isolate it so I don't get the hum out of the speaker. We're talking with Radio 4 tonight. That's Harvey. And I didn't sign you in. I think it was about 9:18 when you checked in on the Sonar Model G. 8 channels from the early 1960s. I don't have a lot of information on that. 23-channel tunable receiver, 5 watts, $229.50. That's all I can tell you about that. So it's working. Go ahead and, as they say, tie the ribbons around that, and it will be good to go.
Thank you, and I'll be hooking up the other one.
Okay, and I want to just jump in quickly here at the bottom of the hour, 9 o'clock here on the West Coast, the Old Tube Radio Network, and say you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Real Radio is Glowing in the Dark, and tonight sponsored and brought to you by Mesa Discount from Mesa, Arizona, where you can find Panasonic, Sony, and Sylvania tubes and other things. Also General Electric. I forgot the little GE logo there. Find out more about Mesa Discount, 456 West Main, Mesa, Arizona, 969-2971. I'm giving out somebody's phone number. Maybe they're around. I should do a little research each week before I go on and find out if these businesses are still around. Maybe I should do a telephone interview to add to the mystique. All right, the Jingle Singers are definitely saying they are ready to do what they do best on the Old Tube Radio Network, and that is tell you about the great place that we have here on Saturday evenings. So over to them.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. Your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And the Old Tube Radio Network is listening for radio number 5.
37.
45.
60.
All right, we've got 3 in a row for the radios. And we've also got an SWL. So Radio 5, that would be Chris. Jump up into the air chair and get the microphonium ready, because we'll be coming to you next. After that, we will talk with Paul up in North Fork. You will be radio number 6. And there's another one from Joe. You'll be radio number 7. So I should have plenty of time to get things warmed up. Before we go to the radios, let's head over to the check-in list, where SWL40 from the Crossband saying hello to the tube radio operators and the SWLs. Hello, Larry. Thanks for checking in, and maybe we will chat with you a little bit when the frequency opens up here. But right now, let's head over and talk to Mr. Chris. Hello, 37.
Well, hello, Dennis. SWL37 here. Well, tonight, you know which one I'm going to check in from. Watching TV, and here there's a show we're watching, but I'm going to check in this one here. This is my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A, the 24-channel version of this one here, and this here, we are running this here with a non-amplified stock microphone. Over.
Sounds good for Radio 5, the general radio telephone. Super MC11A. We had for Radio 2 tonight, the general radio telephone SB72 from a few years prior to that. And it has, believe it or not, it has single sideband, but it didn't go over very well. So general radio telephone went back to just making AM radios, and they did them quite well, as you are proving with your Super MC11A tonight. Give us a transmission.
No problem. As long as this thing keeps keying up, it really works. So we're not complaining with it. It's working.
Oops. Killed my microphone there. Working great. Only 9 tubes for that. The ECLL 800 on the modular output, which does a great job. You can find out more about that radio in Sam's PhotoFax 22, page 45. Or, like we often do on Saturday evenings, we just kind of hang out here and wait for it to stop by, and you give us all we need to know, that it sounds great, works fine, and we all wish we had one. Now, back to you for transmission, and let me put up the... I would definitely want to see what the Orban mod meter's doing with that one. Go ahead.
Okay, well, hopefully it's working like it's supposed to. It's showing some pretty good modulation here, so it seems to be working as it is supposed to, or as it is meant to.
Yeah, we almost pushed it up to minus 14, and it's nice, clear, clean audio. So doing good. Thanks for jumping over here during the intermission. I hope you didn't spill the popcorn, and thanks for Radio 5.
You betcha, Des. Talk to you later. Have a good one. I'm out and watching my show.
Let's go over to radio number 6, and that would be from our collector, Paul, up in North Fork, California, which is probably about 30 or 40 miles to the north and east of me up in the foothills. Paul has a great collection, and we are always glad when he has the time to share it with us. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, Dennis. I was wondering where I call my own reliable here. I like this radio. This is the Sonar Model E. I believe it's younger than the one that Harvey had. This is manufactured in 1961, or approximately that year. It came out in the Popular Electronics magazine in 1961, so that's about as close as I can get to it. Anyway, back to you.
All right, looking for the Sonar Model E radio, so I will put that up on the video display screen. And there is a comment, so stand by, Paul, and we will take the comment. The comment, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the radio. That's Chris' radio. He's got that super deal on the top front of the thing where they come out with a meter, so they have one added on to the thing. I've never seen one for sale. Cliff is lucky to have it. Anyway, it's quite a nice radio. It's real reliable. I like it. It's got a giant microphone for your hand. It feels good in your hands on the thing. Some of the ones are so small that you kind of lose them in your hand. It's got a 5 speaker on the thing, and a VFO control, also 8-channel crystal. So it's got everything on there but a meter. It's got a red light for modulation, a green light when the thing's turned on. That's very plain, very nice looking radio. Back to you. 20.
It is a nice looking radio. Harvey has a comment, I think maybe some information about the Model E, so I'm going to throw it over to Harvey and see what the comment is. Hello, Harvey, over.
No, I just want to be next, okay?
Oh, all right. I thought you said comment. So you will be radio number 8. We're on radio number 6, Paul on the Sonar Model E. Joe is in the green room getting ready to step up into the air chair, and then we'll pick you up for radio 8. And I don't know if you said you had another sonar or not. That will be interesting if you do. The Sonar Model E with the 2 lights, this is also 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like an 8-channel transmitter, like on the Model G. And you have a tunable receive. So is it difficult to get the receive to match up to the transmitter over?
Yeah, on this Model E, on the SAMS number 2, then revised on mine is SAMS number 4. So mine must be a little older than what some of them are. Interesting. I just read that alerted. Anyway, it's got 9 tubes, 8 transfer crystals, and of course got the VFO on the thing, which makes it real nice. And I think that's about it. It's a real plain radio, just a real nice looking radio. Back to you.
All right, very good. I have a question. Are you receiving on crystals, or you're receiving through the VFO? Is that correct? Or you're receiving the VFO?
I'm using the crystals right now, yeah.
Okay, because it looks like it was selectable to maybe do one or the other. So it looks like it might be a little easier to run it that way. The Sonar Model E from the early 1960s, putting out nice audio and a good signal as well. That is radio number 6 from Paul up in North Fork. Thanks for bringing it by, over.
Thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
All right, over to Radio 7. Joe, who is being patient once again tonight, but it is well worth it because I am anticipating another great radio out of SWL 60 tonight. Hello, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis. Dennis, I'm going to check in my Handsome. I call this a Handsome radio. It looks like it just rolled out of the box. my Robin T123B with all kinds of goodies on a little bitty mic. It's almost, it's hard to hold. It's so small. No bigger than an egg. But it is the original mic.
The Robin thing. I think I have a shot. Yeah, there's the microphone, and it's just the opposite of what was going on with the Sonar radio that has this giant microphone that a lot of people describe it with like a piece of toast with a coiled cord on it. Like you said, this one is more like a Norelco shaver. But it does well with the audio. The Green Machine is looking good on our video. Take a transmission, and we'll put pictures to the sound here.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, doggone it, I really like listening to this radio. As far as sound-wise, you pull the squelch, and you activate the tone button, and it just sounds so good. But we're really enjoying it. It's got a lot of features to it. It has a load and tune in the back, even an adjustment for the meter. Of course, we don't play with those, but the front of the radio is decorative. Really pretty radio.
A pretty radio, and it sounds good, too. You can't go wrong with that. And I have a question to ask you. Is this a new acquisition for your collection? Is it something new, or is it just it's been around and you finally got the power to it?
No, this is a new radio for my start of the collection. We're working on another one. That'll be a surprise there for sure. But anyway, doggone it, I appreciate you letting me check this one in.
I appreciate you bringing it by. That is why we are here, to listen and talk about the radio. So if we always rely on our tube radio operators to take time out of whatever they're doing on their Saturday evenings, maybe to sneak into the Radio Shack or to put the pause button on the movie and jump in and share a radio with us. Radio 7, the Robin T123B. It sounds good, looking good on the Orban meter. And again, thanks for bringing it by to the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Thank you much, Dennis.
Also wanted to go to our SWL list and joining the party. And what a party it is tonight. 23 Skidoo. Mitch is checking, and I'm trying to find you, and you are on page 1. I put a possible proxy check-in, and I'm going to change that to an official, which I just did, a official X in the square. As we go ground control to Major Tom. Maybe you were out under the launch pad tonight, or probably trying to retrieve one of the booster rockets that perhaps can be coming back to Earth. The stowing away in the Crew Dragon took a little while to get home, but I think you made it. At least you have managed to check in, so you are somewhere.
Dennis, 25, are you talking to me? I'm sorry.
No, I am actually going to talk to Harvey, who is next, but I wanted to make sure that I got SWL 23 checked in. Were you wanting to check in a radio? I can put you on the list.
Oh, yeah, I thought I threw my number on there, but I guess maybe it didn't get me. Yeah, 25, but I'll stand by.
All right, good. Go into the green room, the new extended green room where there's the lower lounge. Carefully make your way down the steps. I don't think they have the elevator put in quite yet, and I'm afraid to see what the bill for that is going to be. But there's all manner of good things, and we will be calling you in a few minutes here for radio number 9. Right now, radio number 8 is firing up on the west side. Hello, Harvey, over.
Okay. Here we go with another one. This is a sonar. Hey, how about that? One of those you never hear radios. Sonar Model E. How about that? This is the other one that just got finished today. And apparently it's working. But I think you're going to tell me I'm a little low on frequency. Are you going to do that?
Well, we'll find out. Right now, I found a picture. It says Sonar Model E inside. And I'm seeing a bank of crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. There should be 8, right? No, there's 7. I see 7 crystals in the two banks. The tubes. There's the capacitor, the speaker. We'll do a frequency check here in a moment. I think the next go around we'll do an audio check. So go ahead.
Okay, it's an 8-channel radio. Same as the G, 8 channels. There's my audio check, and you can probably do a quick frequency check. Because I think I'm going to be a little low, which I will fix.
All right, you stopped transmitting just as I was zero beating, so try it again.
Okay. Keep my arrow. There you go. Hello, zero beating. I think you're going to tell me I'm low, so I'll be ready to put another one in about a minute or so.
Yeah, I confirm your... Oops. I lose the foot switch whenever I have to do the... what is it? Evelyn Wood? Who was the 18.5-minute sound gap on the Nixon tapes? I have to do this stretching across the table behavior to do the frequency check. Yeah, I've got you at 27083.9, so you're about a KC low over.
Well, I guess I can't join the band. You know, KC and the Sunshine Band. Anyway, give me about a minute and I'll put another one in, so take somebody else and I'll try again.
Okay. All right. Well, I have somebody else. I just want to log you in. You are Radio 8 at 9:48. The pen I'm using is falling apart, and I would like to use the special sponsored Mesa discount, high quality at lowest prices pen, but I'm just afraid that it's so classic. I don't want to break it, so we'll keep it in the pocket protector. And stepping up to the air chair, let's see, we're still looking at a sonar radio, aren't we? Let me go to the control room here. Stepping up in the air chair now will be SWL25, over.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in, and Harvey, your radio is sounding good, and thank you, my friend. And anyway, 25 checking in on the General Radio Telephone MC5 from beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And Paul, your radios are sounding good, and boy, I tell you, everybody's radios are sounding good tonight. So anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Hey, very good. General Radio Telephone MC5. We had one of our listeners mention that when they first started and got into CB radio, one of the radios that was on their in their Radio Shack was indeed the MC5. And I told them often here on the Old Tube Radio Network, we get one of those checking in, and indeed here it is. I am putting up the picture, and we'll go back to you for transmission.
All right, now this anyway, cool little radio, heavy. We got many rack mount bars on each side of the radio. S meter in the middle, and everything's working. It has the secret crystal slot down below in between the squelch and the. I'm trying to read it. I don't have a light here. Transmit. Receive and transmit. I'm sorry, not squelch. So anyway, and then it has the local switch and the distance switch. And then, of course, the PFO and everything's... it has the secret button. Tone signal alert in case you maybe you know what, I'm not even sure what that's for, but it does make a racket. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
I'm back.
Okay, you'll be Radio 10. I think if you have a radio, so we'll see. Right now we're on Radio 9. We are going to upset the FCC. the tone signal, the switch there that should make a glorious noise, and it does, but the FCC didn't like the built-in things that made noise. They really wasn't something that they wanted in your microphone nor in your radio. So that is the last radio that has the tone call. You could get it as a separate unit I think E.F. Johnson and Sonar had standalone little units, and some others did as well, that would do squelch calls and tone alerts or whatever you want to call it, but it was not part of the radio. It did not come with the radio, and it did not come installed into the microphonium. So for those MC5, General Radio Telephone MC5 fans, late 1962-63, when this radio hit the market for just under $200, what would that tone signal sound like?
I guess that's what it would sound like, Dennis. Anyway, thanks for checking it in. Back to you.
And as SWL74 mentioned, it's always a good time for a cocktail during the old tube radio network, and the fans of the Q-Birds are raising their cocktail glasses in a toast to the MC5. So thanks. And it looks like even the jingle singers are happy and want to tell us more about the old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
The Old Tube Radio Network tonight brought to you by Mesa Discount. Highest quality, lowest prices at 456 West Main in Mesa, Arizona. 969-2971. OTR standing by for Radio 10.
Well, how about a redo?
What do we call it? An REDUX over?
Roger. Okay, beat by zero again. Hello. Now, this ought to be relatively close. What do you think, Dennis?
All right, try it again. You do not know, I should have left it on camera, you don't know the contortions that I have to do to get over to the dial to do the zero beat. And now that I am sequestered, cloistered in the seersucker suit and the pocket protectors, it takes me even longer to get there. So take another transmission over.
Because you've seen me a couple of times, and I bet every single time I had my pocket protector. So I know pocket protector. Had one since I don't know when. In fact, I got one right now, right in here. So, and yes, I have a screwdriver in my pocket protector. There you go. With a magnet on the top, just in case. Anyway, you just beat my zero, and it should be kind of close. What do you think?
I think it's very close. Before we were at 80, what did I say, 83.9 or 84 if we want to round up. If I rounded up this one, I think I could put you in at 27.085, so I get you at about 27.08485. So you've increased to where you need to be. You certainly are in the FCC tolerance range of the 700 cycles and maybe about 100 cycles low. Sounding good.
Okay, that was for Jerry there. When I had the other crystal in, I was way off low. That's because I forgot. I'm high. Oh boy. I didn't mean it that well. Yeah, sometimes I mean it that way. Anyway, I'm high, you're low. In other words, whatever my frequency counter says or shows, you read me a little lower. I was thinking the other way around. So I I stuck another crystal in because his was, quote, too high. But no, it wasn't. It was okay. I just put his back in. Anyway, there we go. So I've got one more to check in, and then I'll be done. And getting these back to Jerry there. Because they're his, not mine. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Okay, and for our SWLs that are keeping score, you are back on the Sonar Model E, as in Echo, is that correct?
Yes, I'm on the Sonar Model E, the revised edition. Now, they don't say why it's revised what they do. One's in book 2, the other one's in book 4 of Sam. They don't explain. There is a website I think that we can go to and it explains it. But one easy to spot thing is they changed from a 6BE6, I think, mixer tube to a 6J6. That kind of stands out. And in some models, you'll love this, you have 6-volt tube in certain positions, and in other models, you have 12-volt tube. The only thing is, the book says, okay, with the 6J6, you may have these two, and you may not. So I've seen some Model E's revised with all kinds of different volts, 6-volt circuit, and they were sick the next day, so the other person put it in 12 volts. I don't know. But I've seen so many different voltage versions, it's weird. Okay, anyway, back to you, and I've got one more.
Okay, one more is a good thing. We're getting close to the end of the net here. 6-volt, 12 volts, as long as it works and it's in the right socket and we can hear it, it will be fine. Radio number 9. No, actually, that was actually a recheck of radio number 8 with a different crystal that is definitely getting it a little bit closer, or very, very close on frequency here, 27085, the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks.
Number 7.
And 7, step into the air chair. You will be radio 10. And what was that comment, Harvey? Over?
Can I check this one in too?
You can check that one in. You will be radio 11. Jump over into the green room, and we will be right with you. But first, this word from our radio 10. Hello, Mr. Ed.
Right. Hello, OTR. This time, the Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
I'm just seeing if we've even had a Golden Eagle tonight. And the breaker acknowledged. I will get to you here in just a moment. Double-digit radios, the Golden Eagle Mark III. You are the first at 10 o'clock. Can you believe it? At 9:59. You are the first Browning to key up this evening.
Wow, that usually doesn't happen. But, well, I'm very glad I got my Browning in. Oh, and it also has the gold-plated anniversary edition D104 limited edition microphone.
Which is good. I just found the photo that has the radio on which you're talking. Not the radio, but the model of radio. And it does have the ever-popular Golden Eagle microphone to go with it. So a very good representation of what it is that we're hearing. Back to you.
There you go. Other than a few differences, it's exactly the same thing. But yeah, this one is mine. I got from one of the old check-ins, a dirt tracker that checked in on the OTR, and man, it died once, but Harvey and his people brought it back to life, and it's been going on OTR ever since.
Very nice. And just to refresh my memory, the receiver, I believe, even on the dial will go up to 40 channels, or it goes up to channel 40. I guess it does it by frequency, but the transmitter is 23 channels. Is that correct?
Yes, the transmitter is just 23. The receiver definitely goes like that, I think, to 5A5.
Okay, so I was thinking, that you would be able to do it on Friday nights, and I realized no, you might be able to listen in on Friday nights, but the transmitter, unless you've got some external device, is going to stop at 23. So very good. Well, 16 Lower is coming back. There's a Facebook group that is trying to resurrect the old 16 Lower side. So if you're around during the day when Skip is in, crank that down to 16 Lower. You might actually make some contacts with the Alpha Charlies. It sounds good. We'll go back to you for a transmission on the Golden Eagle Mark III, and then I think we have another check-in and a break as well.
Well, thank you, OTR. And with that, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you for letting me check him in.
All right, and thanks for bringing it by. Harvey, you will be next, Radio 11, but before we do that, who is the breaking station? This is OTR.
Breaking to check in for 70, please.
All right, I will do that. I'm grabbing my special SWL check-in list. If you've got the home game, you're going to column number 1 down to where it says 70, and you're putting in an appropriate mark. We'd like to put an X, but you could put a check, you could put a circle, you do something. I don't know. We've got you checked in, over.
All right, do you have a road number for me?
I'm sorry, do I? Okay, I see what you're asking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row number 8. Column 1. See, this is very old and archaic. This is not on Excel or anything like that. This is on the special check-in sheet that I have to click the number so it'll show up on the screen.
That's perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for checking in. Let's go over to what appears to be Radio 11 as we jump into the 10 o'clock hour here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, Harvey, over.
Hello. Okay, number 20 on a Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68 by Browning Lavatories with the custom D104. It looks like a D104, except it has a Browning medallion stuck on the back of the head of the D104. They did actually come that way. You can find them on eBay for $1 zillion. I didn't pay that for this. Came with the radio. Anyway, this is the Series 1, I think, or Series 2, I don't know. This is the one with the on-air light and the 3-position RF gain switch. On-air light on the transmitter, 3-position RF gain switch on the receiver. I have the other model also, but there's no room in here for it, so it just sits in the closet, and it's the abused one, because this one gets all the attention. There you go. Okay, Dennis, I'll let you go. I gotta get in. It's starting to get a little tired, so I'm gonna go on in. I'll catch you next week, okay?
Good. I'm glad you can be around next week, and we are planning to be here as well on the Old Tube Radio Next Network, with or without our masks and whatever it is we're supposed to put on the radios. Radio 11, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, which is the first Browning to wear the moniker of Golden. Prior to that, the first Eagle was the R68 T68. I have a manufacture date on these from 1967 to 1968. They were just under $400. So I guess as Brownings go, maybe the last of the affordable Brownings. The Series 2, we're talking about the 1 and 2. Series 2 transmitter has the lighted on-the-air light rather than the spotlight, and was on the Series 1. And then some receivers have variable RF gain, others have the 3-position switch. It also had the optional RF or optional wood cabinet and the optional speaker, which I think we were showing in the ad. Yeah, well, at least we're showing the speaker in the advertisement. The surround case, I think you may have had to take the cabinets off and then slip them in that, and it looked pretty cool. All right, thank you, Harvey, for your check-ins tonight. And I want to go to the Jingle Singers one more time and then perhaps call for any last check-ins as we are winding down the old Tube Radio Network tonight. Looking for Radio 12. It's there.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
25.
Well, there's somebody that wants to be modern. Hello, 25.
Hello, Dennis. I know it's been a long night, but anyway, by the way, good to hear Joe Mock's voice. Actually, he's doing fine and well. My wife keeps in contact with him. Anyway, 25, checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB on the non-powered banana mic with the bass, I might add. I believe the banana mic was made by Electro Voice. Boy, what else can I say? The on-the-air light is on. I know you know this radio very well. And anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thank you.
I know it very well. This is just what happened last week. Seems like the Brownings kind of hang out until the very last part of the net, and then the Eagles. What do I say? The Eagles have landed radio number 12 at 10. We'll call it 10:08 from Jerry out there. What do we call it? Madera Heights. I was actually able to get a waiver from my probation officer to drive into that ritzy part of town long ago, and I was able to actually enjoy right in front of that radio, and we did a OTR net control from, I don't know, how long ago was that? 10 years, 15 years? I don't know. I don't even think. It sounds good. I want to make a few comments if I can remember. Mitch says I should be checking in the radio behind me here, the tram. We did have a tram check-in tonight, and actually I used that for net control many a times, but because I have to run an audio feed, the way to hook that radio up is through an external speaker, and it was having lots of problems with putting hum into the incoming audio, and so it sounded like they had a hum, and I couldn't isolate it enough to get rid of that. Plus, it also was picking up RF out of the transmitter. So it has performed pretty much flawlessly on the old Tube Radio Network. So I'll have to figure if there's a way to maybe do a separate receiver or something. But that's part of the radio. The receiver is really nice. The S-meter works well. And as Mitch says, the second commandment of radio is thou shalt not covet thy net controls D201, nor their Browning, nor their general radio telephone or anything else they have. Let's see, what else was I supposed to talk to you about?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that it's a two-piece radio, one big old hunk, it's got to be 16 by 12 by 10 or 9, but they're stacked on top of each other. One's a transmit, one's a receive, and there's that double secret probation button that you push to synchronize both the transmit and receive. And other than that, Dennis, I think you nailed it, man. Anyway, back to you.
That's right. It turns the transmitter on. I think it actually turns the audio on. If you have a microphone, you will actually hear some audio on that. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention. You mentioned Joe Mock, who he He came back because he's out of state. He was working for Telos. And when we had the Society of Broadcast Engineers meeting a year or two ago, he came down with the Telos van. And in talking about the Society of Broadcast Engineers, let me show again our sponsor tonight, Mesa Discount, high quality, low prices at 456 West Main in Mesa, Arizona, 969-2971. Thanks to Michael in Phoenix, Arizona for the pocket protector. And it showed up earlier this week. There it is with the tubes on it where they give S&W green stamps. It's got the Greenie screwdriver and one of the many, where are they? One of the many fascinating items that were in there that we will investigate in weeks to come on the Old Tube Radio Network. We had our first virtual Zoom meeting of the Central Valley Society of Broadcast Engineers. And for those not familiar with Zoom meeting, it's a video conference. And so I was able to don the pocket protector during a Society of Broadcast Engineers meeting. And let me tell you, I was number one on the Zoom video with the pocket protector with the tubes on it. In fact, we had people trying to guess what the tubes were. Some people were thinking they were 6146s, but they don't have the cap, plate cap on there. So I don't know what they are, but they're tubes nonetheless. Anyway, Jerry's probably going, what the heck I'm talking about? You are Radio 12 and it's sounding good. Over.
All right, Dennis. And I hope you had at least 12 pins in your pocket protector. Because you gotta have that. Engineers have to have that. I don't know why. Anyway, thanks for the show, man. Great job, and thanks for taking the radio. Back to you.
All right, good. We were talking about the seersucker suit and pocket protectors, and one of our SWLs said, he had just the ticket, and this showed up in the mail, the pocket protector with the tubes, the S&W green stamps, and then, like I said, a whole bevy of apropos devices to put in the pocket protector from radio and television companies and service companies. And like I said, each week we will feature one of them. Tonight, of course, we are featuring Mesa Discount. High quality and low prices. That's the way you want to have it, not the other way around. So the Jingle Singers are ready to do what they do best at this late hour. And we will be standing by for your check-ins as we do counting and amounting.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Hey, 130 on the Robin. Can you hear me over?
I can hear someone on a Robin. Over.
Yeah, Tom, I'm sitting here 113. I was on Structure earlier, but turned on Robin to see if it'll get out. It just needs probably a little tuning.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm having problems with my headphoniums tonight, but you are making it through my mishap. What is the model number on the Robin? Over.
It's the good old number 23, or I'm sorry, it's 23. T123B, it's the green one.
All right, the Robin T123B. That is our second one of the evening. Let me put up a photo of the 123B that has the does not have the magic eye, but it does have the range expand. And your signal is pretty much in my noise, but the audio is good enough that I'm hearing you. Over.
All right, well, good, okay. All right, well, I know sometimes I have to run a modulator on it. I used this radio up at the Moonlight Madness last year, and it was awesome. It helped out. Somebody was lost, and they could not hear me on my regular CD radio, so it was an emergency. So what's the FCC say? You can use anything you can to help an emergency, right?
Well, you've got to have the right equipment, and it sounds like you made the good choice to bring out the tube radio. Interestingly enough, you chose the perfect time to check in because your 113, 123B is Radio 13 tonight.
Very cool. Okay, thank you for doing this show. I missed the Wednesday net, the 10 meter, and I missed Friday net, Sunny band, so just kind of been busy now lately. So, but I was able to check into this one, so thanks for having it.
Okay, like 1 out of 3. Not too bad. Let me jump back into the picture here. Hello to X4000, checking in X4000. Says he wants to go to Esham Point, where the peacocks like to eat the little plastic peanuts coming out of the shipping boxes up there at Esham, although it's a little bit of a drive. Tom probably knows where that is. Thanks for Radio 13, the Robin T123B. You got it in, and like I said, the audio is good. It's barely showing up on the S-meter, but the audio is good. Emergency communications to the old Tube Radio Network. I'm going to be counting and amounting so we can sign out of the net here. Also, someone commented earlier about a slide rule to go with the pocket protector. I actually had a slide rule. I've been looking for it for a long time. I know I didn't throw it away, and it was from my, we had to use them in my high school, one of the math classes. I don't know if it was algebra. Does that sound right? Anyway, I used to have one. I used to know how to use one, and it's probably in its little plastic case. I remember one of the guys came, one of the fellow students came in with one of the first calculators. I think it was a Texas Instruments that was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. His dad worked somewhere, and he brought that in, and we were all just going, ooh, look, you press the button, and and the answer comes up. Who needs a doggone slide rule? All right, we are standing by counting and amounting Mitch, the limited edition pocket protector instant collector. I'm looking at this one. It actually shows that you can order these. It's the Add Forever Pocket Saver, and then it gives little numbers on, if I took all that garbage off the screen, we might be able to see this. But this is, color imprint, 1, 2, or 3 color. So it's very possible that if we can get a hold of this company that probably doesn't exist anymore, we could make the limited edition pocket protector. OTR standing by as we are counting and mounting on a Saturday evening.
And well, it's better than shooting and looting.
Is the helicopter making its appearance again? Or have they just given up?
I think they've run away and hidden from the protesters. Maybe it's because Fresno is not worth looting. Okay, L.A. is on curfew, the entire city.
They've had practice.
Oh, yeah. And a little bit of excitement in Santa Ana.
Okay, I am back. Last call for check-ins. Trying to find my notes here. And then the jingle singer said,
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
This will be the current and final OTR totals for May 30th of 2020. I haven't been counting how many nets we've done, because I could say it was episode number or show number or net number, but it's been a lot since 1985, 86, when a few of us got together with our tube radios and headed down to Channel 11 to get away from all the noise and hate and discontent on the other frequencies, and said, let's just chat on the radio like we used to, but make sure it's a tube radio. And we do that here each Saturday evening, yet again, in the 21st century. 13 radios tonight. We will find out perhaps if there was a manufacturer that was most heard. Most heard are SWLs, 12 on page 1, 14 on page 2, 17 on page 3, and 14 on page 4, as we are halfway through this 8-week roster for a total of 57. I don't think we put anyone else on the list tonight. For radios, we had 13. Let's see. What can I put up on the screen? Let's go over to the scope and see if I can keep my modulation percentage where it's supposed to be. Most heard manufacturer tonight. It turned out to be a tie between the Brownings and the Sonars. No surprise on the Sonar radios. They were working good tonight, and the Brownings came in at the end. Anyway, all radios are welcome, and they all sound great, and we will check them in. So make sure that if you've got something around, that you get it polished up and plugged in and tested out for next Saturday. Starting off with radio number 1 tonight, the Tram TR27E from Mr. Ed. That was followed by Paul on the General Radio Telephone SB72, one of the very rare general radio telephones. Well, not rare that it's general radio telephone, but rare that it's from 1963, and it included lower sideband when nobody else was doing it, and nobody else did it, and they didn't do it after that. Didn't sell enough, I guess, to make it worth it. But of course, as you know, just years later, sideband was the thing. So maybe the cliche goes, were just a bit ahead of their time. Thanks, Paul, for a bit of history, and we are very pleased to have that very rare radio here in our general area. Joe, SWL 60, radio number 3 on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. That was followed by Harvey testing the Sonar Model G, 100% flying colors for the Model G for Radio 4. Radio 5, Chris on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Radio 6 tonight was Paul on his Sonar Model E. Also sounding good. Radio 7, Joe on the Robin T123B, the first Robin of the first of 2 Robins. Radio number 8, the Sonar, another Sonar Model E, and that was Harvey testing Sonar number 2, and it also passed with flying colors and indeed got a frequency modification to get very close to 27085. Radio number 9 was Mr. Sidekick on the General Radio Telephone MC5 for our requested radio tonight. Someone was hoping we'd have an MC5, and there it was, the Q-Bird fans toasting the Q-Bird beaconing around the earth, out of Fresno, California, and on its way. Radio number 10 was Mr. Ed on the Golden Eagle Mark III. Radio 11 tonight, Harvey on the west side with the Browning Lavatories Golden Beagle R68 T68. Radio 12 was Jerry on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. And then, as you heard moments ago, Tom, SWL-113, switching to the tubes with his Robin T123. Working well tonight. Thanks to our this week's sponsors. Mesa Discount. Highest quality, lowest prices, where you can find Panasonic, Sony, Sylvania, and General Electric. The Pocket Protector is going to save my seersucker suit for many an episode ready to come. Thanks, Michael. I've had a lot of fun with the Pocket Protector this week, not only on the Old Tube Radio Network, but with the Society of Broadcast Engineers. Now everybody wants them. See what you've done. Good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network saying 73. If you're getting out, I hope you can do it safely, and you can do and go where you would want to, but there are still some things that aren't quite accessible. But the Old Tube Radio Network is always here, so join us next Saturday. Don't forget, on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on 28.445, for those of you who are amateur radio operators on the 10-meter Central Valley net. The skip happens on that frequency, so give us a listen if you're out of town. They do have a visitors section to check in on Friday nights on sideband, lower 3627 365, the Ditch Banks, SSB Ditch Banks net. Check us out there, and Jeremy often has the SDR up and running on YouTube, so not only can you check in, but you can see your signal, and if you are well modulated, deviated, and on frequency. Well, you might be deviated, but we want you on frequency. So check that out on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here in the Central Valley. And we had some skip conditions a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully we'll see you there. 73, everybody. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for the Nixie tubes, and we will catch you next week on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Hey, thank you very much, Dennis. You guys all have a great weekend and a great week coming up here.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for the net.
And Java Man, question. Yes, this is the Heil PR40. Thanks for the audio report on the internet. There are a few other. Let me get the picture here. There are a few other toys here in the audio rack that help for that. But of course, when you're sort of narrow bandwidth, I actually have the bandwidth limited to feed the radio, and that's what I'm feeding the internet stream. So one, that my audio matches a little bit closer to the radios coming in. I've tried it before, and then you get this big boomy voice from net control, and then the radio's coming in, and it kind of takes away from the radios. So I've tailored my audio to sound more like the bandwidth of the radios. But it still works pretty good. All this audio equipment to do narrow bandwidth, but it's fun, and it also works when you're actually using it for ESSB or some very good stuff on the AM. Good night to those listening, and you just never know when cycle 25 comes in that we'll take this thing up to 10 meter AM. Maybe we'll try 29085 when the bands start opening up and continue this on a Sunday afternoon when the conditions are right, and have some fun there with our boat anchor radios. And I've talked to a couple people that have the converted 11-meter radios as well. Should be a good time. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network. there's some 75 meter. There's some 75 meter AM on 3.870 on the West Coast. Not too bad.
Clearly, dirty cop. What message does that send to all? Corruption and engaging in.
All right, 73, everybody. Catch you next time.